Hi there, my name is Suze and I'm a divine feminine energy healer and guide. It is Feminine Friday. Thank you so much for being here with me for Feminine Friday. I'm going to do something a little bit different today at the end of the message. I am going to pull from my Divine Feminine Oracle deck. I have been working with this more intimately in my own personal life, and the energies and archetypes of the Divine Feminines that have been coming out in this deck have been absolutely amazing and so incredibly supportive and helpful and affirming. So I am going to pull from this deck at the end of the message, and today's message is probably going to be a little bit brief because I want to keep it potent and clear. And the message is to be unpredictable. Be unpredictable. And so at first glance, saying that, Feminine Friday, feminine energy tip of the day is to be unpredictable. That may seem contradictory to my entire message of emotional stability, right? Or the things that we need to embody and anchor into our lives to create deeper intimacy in our partnerships or deeper, more meaningful connection for vulnerability. It may seem, if I'm saying, be unpredictable, at first glance, it may appear that unpredictability would not create stability and would not create deeper connection because it's hard to trust. It's hard to relax and rely on something that is unpredictable. So today's message is a little bit kind of one of those messages which is true in a lot of spiritual teachings. It's like a giant paradox. It's a paradox, and it is proving a spiritual truth that what is happening externally may not be what it seems, and that what is happening internally is actually everything that really truly matters and is the thing that could ultimately change everything externally, right? I love the saying, as within, so without, as above, so below. But when we're thinking about the as within, so without, sometimes if we're creating a new path, we're doing the inner work to create a radically different exterior reality, there is a delay, right? And that is the manifestation process. I just saw 2, 3, 4 on my timer. That is the manifestation, is understanding that the internal energetics come first and that there is a delay before what's happening in here manifests out there. And that is, in my personal life, what I have found, that has been the trickiest and most challenging part for me in transforming my life and in manifestation, is holding that space and holding that vision, holding the trust of what you are co-creating with the universe, knowing that I am doing, it's more being, I am being exactly what I need to be in order to create this external manifestation that my heart, my soul is pulling me towards for my life, right? So back to the idea of being unpredictable. Let's go back to the basics for a hot second, right? We know that masculine energy is predictable, because it is consistent. Masculine energy is consistent, it is reliable, it is trustworthy. The word integrity is coming to mind right now, right? It is very predictable because it is constant, like one foot in front of the other, very stable, firm, groundedness is masculine energy, right? Feminine energy is very intuitive and emotional and flowing. Okay, intuitive being the key word for this conversation today. Intuitive, logical, flowing, consistent. We see the contrast, and clearly, obviously, yes, in our lives, I say it all the time, it's all about collaborating the two together, having the both of the two energies, understanding their differences, respecting their differences, honoring the needs, collaborating and moving forward together in harmony, in unity, right? But if we're talking strictly masculine and feminine energy in this conversation, The feminine is very intuitive, and she is very aware of every tiny little nuance in energy and in emotions, because she's extremely tapped in and aware of every moment of the energy and the emotions. And so the more and more you learn yourself as a divine feminine, the more and more you grow your own self-awareness, self-acceptance, and therefore self-love. The more you grow this, the more sensitive you are going to become of any energies internally or externally, any shift in energies that is happening. Now, clearly this can be a little bit triggering. The more sensitive you are to these other things that a lot of people aren't so sensitive to, it can have a tendency to throw you off. Now we're in the realm of emotional stability, emotional instability, right? So the whole thing here is, particularly if you are a feminine who in your past, in your history, your life experience, you have had a lot of people around you trying to emotionally manipulate you, and maybe they probably were successful, emotionally manipulate you. And a lot of these narcissistic terms that get thrown around a lot, you are very familiar with people trying to emotionally manage you or emotionally control you or emotionally manipulate you in some kind of way. The only way that emotional manipulation works is if you can predict what the person you're trying to manipulate, if you can predict what they're going to do. So being unpredictable, point number one, being unpredictable is a form of the feminine taking her power back, okay? And I don't mean this in a being unpredictable in a crazy, out of control, random, completely illogical, for no reason, just acting out crazy unpredictability. No, that's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is to the outside world, you may seem unpredictable, and therefore you are not able to be controlled or manipulated. But the truth of the matter is you with yourself are being very predictable in the fact that you are very aware with yourself that something is going on here, that I need to really bring my attention back to myself and very consciously, with high self-awareness, high mindfulness, high self-acceptance, and acceptance for the situation externally too, I must move through this intuitively in the way that I know will help me maintain my own emotional stability and will empower me to be able to show up in this situation, this dynamic, in the highest version of myself that is possible at this current moment in time in my journey. So this being unpredictable, it's an external, someone perceiving you to be unpredictable, and therefore they cannot control you. You hold your power. But for you, internally, it is extremely predictable because you are moving how you consciously need to move through the situation to maintain integrity with yourself, to maintain your own emotional stability. So this may mean disconnecting from things randomly to the outside world that may look that way, randomly pulling away from something and slowing yourself down so you can really feel slowly through how you should proceed and what would be the wisest plan of action for you to move through something that you're noticing some energies are shifting and they're making you feel uncomfortable and something doesn't feel right or something doesn't feel like firm ground for you to be walking on. You know, people who are emotional manipulators, they will have a very hard time with boundaries. And I've noticed a lot of women who are very powerful, who are very intuitive, who are very sensitive to energy, who are highly empathic. They all, and me for a long time too, struggle with setting boundaries, because boundaries does make you look somewhat unpredictable, and the future of the other side of that boundary may feel a little scary and unpredictable, because maybe you don't know, if setting a boundary with someone, how they're going to react, particularly if you're dealing with someone who is emotionally immature. They may react very poorly to your boundary, right? Because again, if you're setting a boundary, you are being unpredictable to the other person because they're not able to control you. And you are saying, hold up, hold up. I need to slow things down to see what the highest good of this entire situation is. I need to slow down for a second to get my stability back so that I can wisely, emotionally maturely, emotionally stably, if that's even a thing, move forward through this. Being unpredictable is extremely feminine too. And on that note, side note to that energy of being unpredictable, I would like to give all the feminines out there, give yourself permission to change your mind, right? That would be being unpredictable. Give yourself permission to change your mind. If something unexpected comes up and it shifts how you see something or are feeling about something or perceive a situation, and again, you recognize, whoop, I need to slow down and go inward for a hot second. You are allowed to change your mind. Another side energy to this whole conversation of being unpredictable is expectations, right? And I love talking about expectations because they can get us in a lot of trouble. And this is another one of those moments where if you are being unpredictable in the highest possible sense of being unpredictable, in the wise sense of being unpredictable, you need to learn to tell people basically that their expectations of you, screw it, and to not care what other people expect of you. The only exception to that rule of other people's expectations of you, this is key. The only exception to that rule is if you have verbally communicated, whoever is involved, whatever situation of people that are involved in the expectation, if there has been a previous conversation and you both have agreed to an expectation of this is what we do, and both or all, whoever, have agreed that this expectation, everyone is signing off on this, basically, it's creating a contract, then that is an expectation that you should honor. And if something seriously dramatic comes up that you didn't foresee, and you really feel that the highest option is for you to break that expectation, break the agreement that you have agreed to, then obviously you have to get in conversation with that person or people that are involved in this expectation that everyone has agreed to. You can't just poof disappear and everyone's like, well, what's going on? Because obviously that will not build trust and safety in a relationship either. If there is an agreement that has been signed off by all parties and you are recognizing, I didn't see this happening and I'm gonna have to break this agreement that I have signed off on, then there has to be communication and apology, taking responsibility for the self and humbly owning your shit in that moment of, oh, I'm in a really bad spot here. I'm a little confused. I don't know what to do. And for a minute, I'm going to have to go over here and handle this. I am so sorry. I will be back when it is the correct time for me. Will you honor that? Will you support my needs in this matter? A conversation somewhere along those lines, whatever it may be. You don't just disappear and ghost the person. You don't just completely blow off the expectation. No, acknowledge the expectation. Claim ownership that you are not able to honor that expectation in this moment. My cat is coming by, so if you see a little fluff ball, her tail might be entering the camera in a moment. That is the exception to the rule. But if someone, you just know someone arbitrarily has an expectation that you're just gonna always show up in this magical thing and always be the bigger person and always, that's doormat energy, and that's completely different. And those are expectations you haven't signed off on, you haven't agreed to. It's just an expectation someone projected on you because they think that's what you're supposed to do. Again, if someone's thinking you're supposed to do something, there's again an element of predictability. Now the thing, again, the paradox here, the irony is that the more unpredictable you may externally appear to be in the context of everything I just said, the more unpredictable you appear to be, actually, over time, the more predictable you actually are in the arena that you will create this predictability with others that no matter what, I am going to do my best to show up in the highest version of myself as possible. No matter what, I know my needs. I take responsibility for my needs. I take responsibility for my triggers. I take responsibility for my insecurities and feeling of instability. And I don't project that on other people. I claim ownership of my own stability. And I know what to do, no matter what, to slow a situation down if that's what's needed, or to temporarily remove myself respectfully and with communication, remove myself from the scenario. Because I am predictable in that I will do whatever I need to do to support myself in showing up in the highest possible version of myself for the point of whatever point of my journey that I'm at. So in being unpredictable and not controlled, not manipulated, and taking your power back, over time, you actually build enormous trust, connection, and intimacy, because everyone will know you are predictable in that you will do whatever is necessary to show up as the emotionally stable, the emotionally safe person. That is incredible emotional safety. I hope this message resonated. I do want to draw from the Divine Feminine cards really quickly. Let me just do a little shuffle. I did do a brief shuffle before I got on here, but I just want to do another little settling in of that energy. I hope this message resonated. If you appreciated it, please do subscribe, like, and comment. Let me know what you appreciated and how that landed for you. I would love your feedback. What is the Divine Feminine archetype energy for us as we go into this weekend, this Feminine Friday? Let's see what we got. You know what? I'm going to take what's at the bottom. I love this. This is very much in alignment with what I had just said. I'm assuming the name is Lala or Layla, but there's no I don't know. The saint of spoken words. Every word I say becomes a prayer. I am the author of my own story. I love that because that is so going back into the energy of communication. No matter what, there's communication, whether it be communication of a boundary, communication of acceptance that you need to remove yourself from a situation for a minute or whatever it may be, whatever it is, it's prayerfully communicating, respectfully communicating, maturely communicating, because I am the author of my own story. I do want to read briefly from the book here. Page 100. I like that. Oh, and I just saw 1919. I'm going way over my time today. I hope you guys are still here with me. This turned out to be a lot more of a conversation than I thought. Lala embodies the potency and power of our words to create our own reality. Lala Laldeed or Laleshwari was a Kashmiri mystic and poet who lived in the 14th century. She was married at the age of 12, but extremely unhappy as a wife. She left her home at age 24 to take renunciation. She became a Shaivite, a devotee of Shiva. Lala walked the streets naked, dancing, and reciting her love poems to the divine. She wore only the markings of her devotion to Shiva on her forehead. Lala is the creator of a mystical form of poetry called Vox, which means speech or voice. The verses of poetry that she spoke are considered the earliest compositions in Kashmiri language. Her words reflect the spiritual truth of non-duality that she realized as a mystic. Oh my God, listen. Above, this is a quote, above temple, below idol are one. Above and below. It's very much reflecting of what I said earlier. As within, so without, as above, so below. Unity consciousness. With her poetry, she found the unity in all things. I just said that, unity consciousness. She found the unity in all things and the freedom that follows. I, Lala, entered through the door of the garden of my mind and saw Shiva and Shakti united into one. Oh joy, there I became immersed in the lake of nectar and died even while I was still alive. What can death do to me now? The Kashmiri language is filled with her sayings. She's known as a prophetess, a saint, even an avatar. Although illiterate, she used the inherent power of her every word to transcend duality and enter a state of blissful union with the divine. 21:21. This is the message for your soul, right? When words have the power to shift our reality or to continue to reinforce it. Louise Hay, founder of Hay House, turned to me during a dinner party, looked me right in the eyes and declared, "Every word you say is an affirmation." This is perhaps one of the most crucial spiritual lessons to remember. If we are not separate from the soul, and if the soul is not separate from the divine, then we have the power to co-create our life. This is so validating to my message today. Love this. Thank you, and I am so grateful. Lala is the invitation to pay close attention to each word we say to ourselves within, and to the words we say about ourselves to the people we love. She's the acknowledgement of the soul that our every sentence is a prayer. If we want more love, more light, more of that joy and freedom that expands our capacity to be present in the world, then Lala reminds us that we can become the author of our own reality right now. We can speak our desires into being. Lala is the reminder that we are so powerful that changing the words we use to describe ourselves can change the trajectory of our lives. We can choose to focus our attention on each I am statement we say. And we can infuse our lives with the nectar that comes when we act on the truth that we are not separate from the divine. Here's the meditation. What are the most powerful words for me to use frequently right now? And here's an affirmation. Every word I say becomes a prayer. I am the author of my own story. Happy Feminine Friday. Thank you so much for being here. Sending so much love, light, and comfort to you all. And I'll see you on the next one.